Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 65 of Build Your Stash and Craft. This week we are going to color our own flowers so that we have fabric or silk flowers of our own in any color. And then also we picked up a little bit of twine, not twine, but a little bit of fibers. And I was going to make pom-poms and I tried, but they don't make really the best. It doesn't make the best pom-poms. Maybe I didn't put enough on there. It kind of turned out cute, but yeah. And I also wanted it to put like in our flowers when we decorate our flowers. You can kind of put some fibers in there and put another flower on top, which is what I originally got it for. But then I thought, oh, pom-poms would be cute, but I found that they didn't turn out very well. So, but I did want to show you just really quickly what I did with my fibers, because originally we got some fibers way back when, and these are the fibers that I got. And the thing is I never could find the end. And so I would just I'd look and I'd look and I'd look, and finally I would just pull out a piece and just cut it and then start that is my new end. So goodness knows how many pieces this one is actually in. So I decided this time, before I even started using it, that I would just put it on just a little spool. And all I did, because I had my spool that I made, I showed you how to make the large spool when we made the little ones for our twine. And I thought about putting it on here, but there's not much of a gap there, and it would have been sticking way out. It wouldn't have fit on this very well. So all I did was I just put it on a skewer, and I just took a skewer and just kind of cut a length of it. I wanted it to be, I'd made it about as long as my fibers, as my original little thing of fibers like this. I made it about that long, just like that, so that it would fit on there and be about as fat as this was. And then all I did was I drew around the bottom of my coffee cup to get myself a circle, and then poked a hole in the center. And to find the center, all I did was I drew around my coffee cup on a piece of paper and then just folded it in half. So this is the same size circle as this one. And so I just folded it in half, and took a little teeny tiny nick off the point. And so that gave me the center of my circle. And so then I just put it on my cardboard, made a little mark, and poked a hole in it with my pokey tool on both ends. And then I just took my skewer and stuck it through there. I did put a little piece of, just cut a little circle to go here in the middle on both sides, and glued that to the larger one, and then glued the larger one kind of to the skewer. And that way, it's not like a super solid spool like you would have if you had a larger center, but it works really well. And then I did find a piece of the end of this one, and you just take it and just start anywhere and just start wrapping, and then just keep wrapping and wrapping until you get all the way done. And then you'll have all your twine on a spool. Once you get your twine all the way wrapped, now see, let's see, because I didn't do it with this one. Okay, here is the end. I thought I'd have a hard time finding the end. Okay, take the end, and I cut a little tiny nip on each side. Where's the other one? Right here. So I just cut a little nip on each side, and the reason I did it on both sides is because as I'm unwinding this, if I end up on this side, I can tuck it in there. If I end up on this side, I can tuck it in here. And if I end up in the middle, I can choose which side I want to tuck it into. So just go ahead and wrap it till you're done, and then just tuck it into that little nick. Just pull it right down there. Now you always know where the end of your twine is, because this fuzzy stuff is harder than heck to find the end because it all sticks together. So that's how we're going to store our twine. And I'll do my purple one up later, and then I'll have two of them. So to do our flowers, hold on a minute. Get all those fuzzies off of there. I put some of my double-sided tape on here to hold the flowers, and now the fuzzies are stuck all over it. To do our flowers, I did them a few different ways. So this here is with permanent markers and hand sanitizers. This was the easiest, and to me, I really liked the way that it turned out almost the best. This leaf right here I had done with some green. I don't think you can see it, but I used green marker on our leaves. The leaves were a little bit light. This was the color of the leaf, and then putting the permanent marker on it made it a little darker and gave it a little dimension. But this one was sitting on my foil, and some of my alcohol inks seeped over there, and the leaf grabbed it. So that's just got a little bit of permanent marker and alcohol ink on it. These ones here are all done with our alcohol inks. This one I put a piece of our stamen from last week in the middle. And this one here was done with our purple metallic marker. We got purple, blue, green, something. But anyways, we had some of those in our stash. These are our glimmer mists here. And they turn out very light. My purple was so light, so I wound up putting a little bit of my watercolor purple. It was on my foil, and so I just went ahead and dipped the flower in there. And then this is our watercolor dies that we made with our Easter egg dies last year. And I did the purple one and the yellow one, and then I just went ahead and dipped the ends of this one in purple and the center of it in the yellow to get that two-tone. So this is what we're going to do today. I don't know if you can see the yellow here. It's kind of orange on the ends. That is just by when you dye it with your alcohol inks, turning it upside down so that anything that's still wet on there kind of runs to the tips and then dries a little bit darker. So that's what we're going to do. It's very simple. And we'll start with our markers since I think that they're the easiest. And we're just we'll grab a couple of our flowers. If I can get, and I don't do the little centerpieces, but you can color those with your alcohol markers or your alcohol ink. Permanent markers are alcohol markers. You can color those with that and put them back in there. And we'll just see how that works. And you can use that for your center. You don't even have to use anything else for your center. But you can just go ahead and use those. They would probably dye better with alcohol ink because it would get into the grooves. The marker doesn't really want to get down in between there. The nib is too fat. But there you go. You can just do that and then just put it right back in the center of your flower. And there we go. So you can use those too. I'm just going to take them out for now because I want to layer my flowers. And so the way to do them with your permanent markers, I don't really want a green flower. So you're just going to take your marker and just, with me, I started with just putting some color in the middle, just like that. And then just take a little bit of your hand sanitizer. You don't need a lot because I think that I think that the alcohol starts to evaporate on it. So you just want a little bit and then just get a little bit each time, because if the alcohol that's in there evaporates, then what happens is it doesn't spread your inks very well. And I've lost my paintbrush. I had a really good paintbrush to do this with. Because, oh, here it is, because it was already stained with alcohol inks. So that's why I like to use that one. So just take that and just go right where your permanent marker is and just start pulling that marker out towards the edge. You can do it as little or as much as you want. You can pull it all the way out. You can just pull it part of the way out to the edge and leave the edges a lighter color. And so there we go. I pulled that out. And this is what it looks like. So it works really well with the permanent markers. And you can also take your permanent marker, and I'm going to just wipe this off because I don't want to blend the yellow in there. Of course, it wouldn't have hurt anything, but you can just go ahead and put some of your permanent marker at the tips of your flower. Actually, I'm getting quite a bit out here, so this may actually blend a lot more than I'm planning on, because I just wanted to put some at the ends and then pull it towards the center a little bit just to give it a different look. The thing with this is you can make them look however you want to. You could put polka dots on there and then just kind of blend them around just a little bit and leave it so that you can still see the polka dot. Put a little bit of our there. And then what I'm going to do is, because I have so much on there, and I do apologize for the glare, but your aluminum foil works the best for this because your alcohol inks don't sink in. I'm just going to pull out on the edges a little bit, and that's going to let that kind of just, it's coming right towards the center. But I kind of want to blend that line a little bit, but I know that I have so much that if I pull towards the center, it's really going to get dark in the center. So just go around and do it like this. The more you do it, the more that your line that you've got on there will blend in. And of course I'm getting more and more blue here, so now the blue that is on my foil is also sucking into my flower. So we're definitely going to have a solid blue flower. But then if we want to color in the middle, when we're done, let it dry, put a different color in the middle and blend in around. Like put some red in the middle and it will kind of go to a bit of a purple color. And so there we go. That's what that one looks like. And because the flower had a little bit of a yellow tint to it, these flowers have a little bit of a yellow tint in the middle. That yellow in the middle is still showing up just a little bit because I didn't actually cover it. That just soaked in there. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it upside down. And so that's how you use your permanent markers. They work really well. The metallic markers that we got work well, but they don't spread out as well. I had colored that circle on there, and even though it did spread out, the circle stayed right where it was. I wasn't able to blend that circle in. So, and then with the with your alcohol markers, you can either drip it on, but I have a real problem getting mine to drip out of those bottles, so I just open them up. And I don't like the alcohol purple. Oh no, that was the dye purple that I didn't like. The dye purple was just too light. Now I'm going to wipe my brush off. And my hands are really bad right now, not just from the dyes, but I was dyeing. I'm just barely going to touch the things that are still in there. I'm not going to actually even stick it in the ink because these are tiny flowers. I really don't need very much. But I was saying I was dyeing coffee paper and tea paper and my hands are still brown. It's been 2 days ago. And then just put that on there. See how that, I mean, that just almost immediately turns solid red. And I'm going to flip it over and see if that will make the ends of my petals a little bit darker. And then let's do a yellow one in the permanent mark. No, let's do orange. No, yellow. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to put, do I have any hand sanitizer? No. I'm going to kind of wash this a little bit in my hand sanitizer and then wipe it on my paper towel and hope that I got most of it off. Because that red's going to wind up mixing with my yellow. We may wind up with an orange flower anyways. I'm gonna touch the tubes that are in there. And you can also use one of your little stir sticks to hold it down so that you're not getting stuff all over your hands. And so there's our yellow one. The alcohol inks dry very, very fast. That is the wonderful thing about them. And actually, the ones with the hand sanitizers dry the second fastest. But there's those two, so you can layer those up just like this and make a flower like that. Or layer them with the big ones. So, and then it's the same. We're just gonna, we can paint them with glimmer mist. Let's see, this one is dry. What I'm going to do is, this one was our rubbing out, or our permanent marker and hand sanitizer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and maybe put a little bit of our glimmer. Let's do glimmer orange. Put a little bit of our glimmer spray on there. Now my sprayers aren't working super well either. And I just lost my top. So I'm going to mix it really well until you get that beautiful glimmery look coming up around there when you see the shimmers, and you don't see any more shimmer on the bottom. And I can either just drip it on like this, or I can use my paintbrush and I can paint it on. Go in there and grab a little bit. Now you are going to want to wait for your alcohol to dry, for your permanent markers to dry before you do this, so that your glimmer mist will soak in, because one's water and the other is alcohol. But so long as you let them dry. Now this one doesn't look too great right now, and the glimmer mist, when I first did them, I was like, eh. But then after they dried, they do look really pretty. The glimmer shows up and they look really pretty when they dry. These three, I don't know if you can see the shimmer on them, but those three there, those were the glimmer mists, and or the glimmer sprays, and they did turn out really pretty. They've got some really pretty sparkle on them. So that's as easy as it is. You know, buy yourself a bunch of white flowers, and you know, any kind of a really light colored flower, and use those to make whatever color flower you need for your project. That way you are not out there having to spend money buying, even if you buy them in the little packets of 6 or whatever, you got to buy a packet of white, a packet of red, whatever color you need, or if you want to have all the colors in your stash. And then to put them together, you can use your brads. Let me grab one real quick. I've used most of my brads up. I only have the ones I don't like very well left. But this was just one of the brads that we covered. This one we covered with paper when we did our brads. And being that it's purple, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this purple one and maybe, should I go another color? That's kind of pretty. And just go ahead and put your brad in there. Yeah, I think that yellow helps brighten up that purple a little bit, because that purple's very dull. My brad doesn't want to split apart. There we go. And there we go. It's as simple as that. Now you've got your own handmade flower, your own brad, your own coloring, and it looks really pretty. Now what you can also do is you can take some of your, just take a little piece of your twine, and then just go between the two layers of your flowers. Oops. And just pull it right around there. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of pull it back between those two petals. And I'm just going to cut that off. I'm not going to tie a knot or anything in it. There we go. You can go ahead and lift your petals apart and put a little dab of glue in a couple of spots just to hold it. But I don't want to tie a knot and then have, you know, a big bump where the knot is. But now there it is with the twine on it, and that just like makes it totally different. I love that. I love the twine. But you can just layer them in any manner that you want to. These are the stamens that we made last week with our little foam glitter bits. And so I put those in the middle of that one. I thought that that kind of made that look like one of those Hawaiian flowers. I thought after I did it, I thought, oh, I should have put like a different color in there instead of the red. I should have done yellow or orange. But all I did with that was I just put my string through the hole. And then what I did was I just set it in my glue holder the glue holder that we made. I just set it in there like that, put just a touch of glue right here and made sure that it kind of grabbed a hold of my string, and then just let it sit there till it dried. And that way, if I want to, I can cut this string off, or I can leave it on, either way. But if I cut the string off, it's not going to fall out because now it is glued in there. So, and then to do the leaves, we'll do a leaf really quick, because these leaves are way too big for our flowers. So we don't want that. So what I do is I start at the point and I fold it in half, and then I just kind of make it go around and then down just a little bit so that I've got like a place to glue it. So here's our point that we started with, and then I just came down so there's a little bit sticking out the bottom. So when you go to glue that under your flower, you know, you've got that sticking out, so you can glue that bit to your flower so your leaf sticks out nicely. But then what I do is once you do that, then you have this. So once you have this, if you want a larger, maybe you feel that you need a bit larger leaf for this, so then you're just going to take that and leave it fairly large. Just fold it in half and round it around. And then you can put that underneath your bigger flowers. And of course, if you feel that the size leaf that comes off of here is the right size for you, then you just use that size. But this way you get all sizes. And then we've got this one. So if you want more small flowers, then all you do is just go and just cut it smaller, just like the first time. And there we go. So that's how you can get any size leaf that you want out of the leaves that come with your flowers. And then what I did with the leaves was I just put a little bit of green on there. And then let me wipe this off. And then just take a little bit of our hand sanitizer and just spread it around. Let me show you. It's hard for you to see, but this is, and then you just spread it around until you get it as, how would I say that, as blended in, I couldn't think of the word, as blended in as you want it to be. You may want to leave those lines actually there. You may want to just blend it. And then what happens is it kind of goes in. This leaf has little nooks and crannies, and it gets a little darker in those nooks and crannies. And then you just let that sit and dry. And you've got leaves of any size or any shape. If you want a really tall, skinny leaf, just take one of these off the other. And then just fold this one in half and make it skinnier. Just like that. Now you've got a really tall, skinny leaf that's about the right size for your medium-sized flowers. And actually, you've got two more right there. You can just take those and put those behind a flower. Just like they are, and they look kind of cool. Looks a little bit like horns. Maybe I'll take it off and put it the opposite way. There, I like that better. Better than horns. So that's it. That's the way that you can dye your own flowers. Let's throw them back over here so you can kind of see them better on the white. And how you can make your own leaves. Get that out of the way. Oops, we missed one. Put those on there and get this out of my way. So there we go. There's our own homemade colored flowers. And I hope that you enjoyed the video this week. I had fun making these, and I'm going to start layering them up and seeing what I can come up with. So I hope that you have fun making some. And for next week, we are going to need, excuse me, from the Dollar Tree, this is lightweight spackling. Now, this is not the same as the Max Patch that we got the first time. That was a plaster base spackle, and it was very wet and very heavy. These feel like there's nothing in them, and we'll need two because one is not going to be quite enough. So we'll need two of these lightweight spackles from the Dollar Tree for $1. We are going to need a 10-pack of the Sure Fresh containers. I accidentally picked up round, and I don't want round because I don't feel round stores that well. So it's up to you. You can get a 10-pack of the round. I am actually going to go back and I'm going to get a 10-pack of the rectangle ones because I like, excuse me, I like the way that they store better. So you'll need a 10-pack of your little containers. I got this at the Dollar Tree. This is Dudley's Shake and Egg. And what this is egg coloring that has these little packets in it. They're little packets of liquid, and they look like this. So you're going to want one that shows with a little liquid packet instead of the tablet. So that's what we are going to need for next week. Oh, and we'll get some gloves. So this is an 8-pack of gloves from the Dollar Tree. This is a size, oh, they're one size fits all, but they're a pretty nice size. They don't, they're not super tight, but they're not loose either. I don't like those big yellow ones that you use for dishes that are like really big and bulky. So these work pretty good. And I have medium to large size hands. They should be medium, but they're getting large. Okay, oh, and when you use your gloves, just so I don't forget to tell you, when you use your gloves, and you've got one on each hand, go to the sink, use your soap, and wash your hands just like you would, and then take them off and just kind of set them. You can set them like right on top of here or something, and just let them dry. Don't throw them away when you're done with them until they get a hole or something in them, but once you wash them, make sure that the wet side is on the outside, and then just hang it somewhere and let it dry, and then you've still got your gloves. So, and also for stamen for the center of your flowers, you can make the stamen that we made earlier this year. I made a whole bunch. Oops, if I can get in here. I made a whole bunch earlier today. Just of the ones with the plaster, with that Max Patch spackle, and and then they wind up looking. They look kind of like your flower stamen that you actually buy at the store. So I made up a bunch of those too so that I can play with those with my flowers. So don't forget that you can make those with your string and with your spackle. So for next week we need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So next week we're not going to have anything to put in the bank, and we will still have $15.50 then left in our bank. So that's what we're going to need for next week. Next week we're going to make a moose. So, and not the animal type. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the flowers, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.